So, this is supposed to start off the Dark Universe for Universal. You tried at least. You tried. Hey, what's up, you guys? Film Fan 0599 here again. And today we're going to review The Mummy, the 2017 version. So, The Mummy stars Tom Cruise, Annabelle Wallis, Russell Crowe, and Sophia Boutella. And what this film is basically about, it's about, these archaeologists, Tom Cruise and the gang. They find this Egyptian tomb. And they find out that this Egyptian tomb holds a very, very dark spirit. And now the spirit has been unleashed. And now they need to try and find a way to stop this dark spirit from, basically destroying the world. So, what did I think of The Mummy? The Mummy, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of looking forward to it because, one, I am a fan of the mythos of the Mummy. I think it's really interesting. I love the concept of the Mummy a lot, so I was looking forward to see what they could do with the new version of it. And Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is one of my favorite actors of all time, so anything the dude's in, I'll look forward to. So yeah, I was kind of looking forward to the Mummy. I was very interested to see what they could do with this movie, and what a waste of an opportunity, really. Like, seriously, what a waste of an opportunity that they could have done with this movie. And they just, honestly, they missed the mark. Really. They really did. They just missed what could have been a really cool movie. They just made it into just a boring and a bland movie. That's really what they did. They could have made, a fun, exciting adventure film, but no. This is what they do. They just make it into a bland and absolutely bland movie. But let's get into positives, because I do have some positives with the film. The positives are, first being the acting. The acting was pretty solid in the movie. I will say that. For the most part, the acting is pretty solid in the film. Tom Cruise was great. I loved him in the movie. He was by far, I think, the best part of the film. He was great. I really enjoyed his character, even though he comes off as a discount Nathan Drake for a lot of the movie, but he is really good. I did quite enjoy him in the movie. He was pretty good. I did like him. He's Tom Cruise. He always tries to bring his energy. He always tries to bring his all on, no matter what film it is. And he was really good. I did enjoy him in the film. Annabelle Wallis was 50-50. She was 50-50 in the movie. For the first 50% of it, she was pretty good. I did enjoy her in the movie. The other 50% I'll get into later on, but yeah. For the first 50%, she is pretty good in the movie. Russell Crowe was great whenever he appeared on screen. I enjoyed him a lot. He was really good. Sophia Boutella as the Mummy was great. I did enjoy her. She did do a pretty good job as the Mummy in the film. She really brought that menacing presence that the Mummy is supposed to bring, and she does a great job with it. So I thought she was great. The acting for the most part is really good in the movie. The action sequences are really good. I did enjoy for the most part, a lot of the action scenes in the film. They were enjoyable. The action scenes in the movie, they were pretty solid. The makeup for the Mummy was actually really cool. I really like what they did with the makeup with this character. It was actually pretty cool. I thought, it looked really convincing, actually. I really liked what they did with the makeup for Sophia Boutella in this movie as the Mummy, So, yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job with that. The writing is pretty solid in the movie. It does have some pretty solid writing. The directing was really good with the movie, actually. I thought the directing was pretty solid. It's very well shot. Editing's not too bad, actually. And the cinematography isn't too bad with the movie either, honestly, really. So, yeah, directing was actually pretty good. It was directed by Alex Kurtzman. I believe that's his name. He did actually a pretty solid job directing the movie. I did think he did a good job directing the film. It's very well shot, very well edited, really, and it's really good cinematography. So yeah, And I will say this, the first 30 minutes of the movie was actually really enjoyable. I was actually quite enjoying the movie a lot for the first 30 minutes of it. You know, I was like, okay, I'm interested to see where this movie's gonna go. Until a certain scene, I'll just say this, a certain scene involving a plane, that's when really the movie became really boring and bland. That's when it became boring and bland. I was just like, oh boy. But I will say that the first 30 minutes of this movie was actually really enjoyable, and I was really intrigued to see where they went with it, and they went nowhere with it, honestly, so yeah. Now the negatives with the film, and my negatives are, first being, some of the acting. It's mostly with, Jake Johnson. He felt so out of place in this movie. He's supposed to be like the comic relief of the movie, and like he just felt so out of place in this movie. It was just like, why are you even here? Like, it's like, why are you here? You're just here to just be the dumb comic relief, and you're failing at it. Like, he felt so out of place in this movie to me. Like, he truly did feel out of place in this film, and it was just really awkward whenever he was on screen, to be honest. And like I mentioned before, Annabelle Wallis was kind of 50-50 with me. Here's the other 50% of it. There is some times where she does kind of overact a little bit too much, and like she does overcook it a bit. Just sometimes during the movie. Like, I felt like she did kind of overcook it a little bit at times during the movie. So yeah, that's where the other 50% comes in. Like, there was just some times in the film I did feel like she was kind of overcooking it. So yeah. There are some really, really ridiculous moments at times in this movie. And I'm talking really ridiculous moments. Like, I talked about the scene with the plane. Dear God Almighty, like, that was just beyond ridiculous. And just some other moments that happened in this movie that just was like, this is happening, holy moly. Like, there are some really ridiculous moments in this film at times. Like, they force a romantic relationship with Tom Cruise and Annabelle Wallis, and it just feels completely forced. Like, it really does. Like, there's no sense of development to me with these characters, like, in terms of a relationship, and it was just, like, really, really, really forced to me. Like, it just felt like we need, like, a romantic relationship for this film, and let's just put these two together. And that's what it, honestly, what it felt like to me, and yeah, it had no development whatsoever to me. The story is really bland, honestly. Like, it's just really boring, the story. It's just really uninteresting, and if your story's not interesting, then your movie's not going to be interesting. Like, it really isn't. Like, you're supposed to be invested into the story, and I wasn't. I was not invested into this story, really. For the first 30 minutes, I was, but then after that, no, I wasn't. It's very bland, the story. It's a very, very bland story. The worst thing about this movie, to me, the absolute worst thing, is indeed the visual effects. Who in the hell got paid to do the visual effects for this movie? Seriously, the visual effects in this movie are absolutely awful. They're completely garbage. Like, wow, like, I could not believe how bad the visuals looked in this movie. Like, seriously, the absolute worst thing about this movie are the visual effects. Like, they're the absolute worst things about this movie. Like, holy moly, like, the visual effects in this film are just completely awful. Like, they look so terrible. Like, PlayStation 2 called. They said they had better graphics than this. Like, seriously. Wow, it looks so bad. These are definitely some of the worst visuals of the year. Like I didn't necessarily, like, hate anything in this movie, but if there was one thing that I absolutely, like, despised in this movie, it was the visuals. They are by far the worst thing about this movie. Dear God Almighty, are they awful. And lastly, the movie is really boring. Like, holy moly, the movie's an hour and 50 minutes. It did not need to be that long. It really didn't. And it just drags on forever. Like, seriously, it just, after the first 30 minutes, it just drags on forever. Like, it really does. It just drags along and just becomes boring and bland. Overall, The Mummy, although it's not a good movie, it's not 15% bad. Seriously, like, I mean, there's worse movies. Like, 15%, come on now. There's worse movies than this. But, yeah, but still, it's not a good movie, really. It's just kind of one of those movies you, like, watched and you, like, kind of forget about until you, like, see it on TV again and you were like, oh, yeah, The Mummy from 2017. That was a thing. Like, you know, it's kind of one of those movies, like, you just forget. Like after you've seen it, you just kind of like, okay, that was that, you know what I mean? It's like one of those films, so yeah. So stop for my official grade on The Mummy, and my official grade on The Mummy is a C+. It's alright, it's fine, it's kind of just disposable, really. It's one of those films. It's just really forgettable, this movie. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I almost forgot a lot of the movie after watching it. It's really forgettable, this movie. It's honestly just a forgettable film. It's nowhere near as bad as a lot of people are putting out to be, holy crap, but it's definitely not good either. It's just okay, it's fine, it's kind of just a mediocre movie. It's really forgettable. So yeah, The Mummy gets a C+. So, if you have seen The Mummy, what did you think of it? Leave it in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you about later. Peace.